Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another community response, and this time we're going to be taking a look at your predictions for Boruto Two Blue Vortex Chapter 11, which will be out 4 days as of this recording on the 20th. So the review will probably drop on the 20th or the 21st, depending on when we get the review itself. And as a quick reminder before we get into the spoilers themselves, that big 2.5 hour Boruto video that I promised is now up on the channel as we speak. It's this video here. And gotta say, first and foremost, I appreciate the initial response that we've been getting on the video. Looks like a lot of you guys have been watching it for a pretty lengthy amount of time, so I do appreciate the support there. If you've not seen that video, please check it out. There's a lot of love and care that got placed into that video itself. Quite a few of you in the comment section have said overwhelmingly this video lived up to the hype. Now, getting into your responses here, we're going to start over on the Patreon, and then we're going to move over to YouTube. So over on the Patreon, we got a few responses here. So starting with my guy Tommy Bunny Bread, who says that I think Inojin will pull through somehow. Kawaki will show up to back up Himawari. Maybe Shikamaru will tell Mitsuki to back up Sarada or Hima, and I think it will end with one of the names of Sarada's Mangekyo abilities being revealed. That would be dope. That's actually, say if that happens, right? That happens. That's actually pretty good pacing right there. I kind of like that. It's one of those things where it's a monthly manga and it's only 40 pages, so you can't cram too much into it, or else you kind of run into a problem we had when Kodachi was writing, where it was that breakneck speed where there wasn't a lot of that was being fleshed out. So I kind of like what you did here. So I like that. Let's see. Big Chungus. Okay. First 2 pages, Himawari rampage with reactions, and it transitions into the Sarada Hidari battle where she figures out he has her father's chakra. Sarada's Mangekyo revealed, and Boruto explaining more about his karma resonance, and at the end of the chapter, Momoshiki finally appearing again. I wouldn't be mad at that one either. I really wouldn't be mad at that one either. Again, you guys really have it down in terms of figuring out like the proper pacing here. You know, we can't have too much stuff come in here, or else you run into the problem that Boruto early on in part 1 had, which is, hey, we gotta wait for the anime to flesh this out. So I like what you're doing here. I wouldn't be mad if we ended with Momoshiki starting to speak to Boruto or manifest or something like that, because right now in volume 3, I believe we are chapter 9, chapter 10. So we're at chapter 11. So that'd be 3 chapters into the volume. So ending off with potentially chapter 12, having some Momoshiki stuff, that worked. That works. That's a great way to end a cliffhanger. That's what you got to keep in mind. Every 4 chapters or so, when you get to the end of the manga volume itself, mangaka tend to try and leave some kind of a cliffhanger that gets you reading, even more so than the standard cliffhanger that you get with the regular chapters. If you pay attention, like every 10 chapters in a weekly manga, there's usually something that makes you go, oh my god, what happened at that 10th chapter? So FBK says Himawari smacks the wood style out of Jura off guard. I could kind of see that, especially after these leaks. Either Hima or Sarada or Sakura will heal Inojin, and then he gets a Zenkai boost. Yo, if Ikimoto pulled something like that, yo, even I couldn't defend that. Yo, like, Boruto already plays a lot with the concept of, you know, paying homage to Dragon Ball, but if this dude Inojin gets a Zenkai boost, I'm going to be questioning why he didn't get any stronger, because that haircut in of itself warrants a Zenkai boost. That is a near-death experience right there. Now, going back to what he says Jura turns up and starts fighting Himawari seriously. Kawaki pulls up flabbergasted by Himawari's transformation. Then he begins round 2 against Jura. Cut to Hidari versus Sarada, looking evenly matched as they swap blows. Oh my god, people be so upset. People would be so upset if Sarada swaps blows with Hidari. I mean, I'm with it. You know, like, at the end of the day, Sasuke warned us in part 1 that she had grown at a rate that was faster than he did. Like, she's 2 years younger than Sasuke was when Hagoromo gave him the Rinnegan. Like, it's one of those things, like, she was always gonna get to this point. That's a video in of itself. So getting back to what he's saying, and Sarada is making sense of who Hidari really is and how it happened, activates Mangekyo. Cutscene, Boruto and Momoshiki conversing. Amado, more Sasibaka stuff. Jura, Stone Cold Stunners. This is the most unrealistic comment ever, and I love it, especially after Clash of the Castle, man. I just watched that this morning. Yo, especially after Clash of the Castle, I love this right here, man. Yo, imagine if Jura just hits the Stone Cold Stone on somebody. Dude, as a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan, yo, I would pop right there. Like Austin, The Rock, those are my goats right there. Austin, Rock, and Roman Reigns. Those are my three goats. I'll take it. I'll take it, man. Stunner's Kawaki, then puts Himawari in a Steiner recliner. Yo, oh my God. Yo, man, you're getting a heart for this shit. This is so unserious. And right before she submits, enter Damon to the rescue, leaving Ada defenseless cliffhanger. Yeah, and I think Tommy Bunnybread said something about that too, about Misky being dispatched. If that happens, like, kind of leaves Ada vulnerable, and that kind of opens the door for Bug, and it's something we've kind of talked about in the channel in the past. So I could see that. I could kind of see Ada being left vulnerable. So getting over to the Naruto Explained channel, we have for the community response. Yes, YouTube, I see the survey. Are you satisfied with creating posts? Jaden Castro 1567 says, based on the V-Jump promo, I am guessing Sarada either uses her Mangekyo Sharingan or outsmarts Hidari in some way. Then somewhere off in the distance, Himawari is telling Jura, nah, I'd win. Yo, my Jujutsu Kaisen fans know that reference right there. Nah, I'd win. Especially after the last chapter. Okay, let's see, before getting clapped so hard, it triggers a flashback. Knock the flashback into her. And somewhere behind a tree, Damon is looking like R. Kelly ready to jump it. Man, I can't with these references, man. Yo, y'all be saying I'm unhinged, man. Yo. Let's see. Raging Storm 24 says, Hima versus Jura continues. She'll do damage, but it's nothing lasting. Himawari versus, Sarada versus Hidari continues, with Sarada activating Mangekyo Sharingan, but we don't see the ability. We'll see what Bug and Matsuri are doing. Cliffhanger will be Kawaki and Delta saving Himawari and Team 10 for a fatal attack. Kawaki absorbs a BG. I could kind of see that. I could see that. That one seems realistic too. Let's see. Dark Void Wrath 958 says Sarada makes the community salty and outraged when she's revealed to be stupid broken. Man, people are not ready for that conversation. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, when it comes to Naruto characters, like, people, even as far back as when Kaguya was revealed, there were people who were whining and bitching and moaning in the community that just could not accept the fact that a woman was this strong. And as somebody that was around back then, people were very salty that Kaguya was stronger than Madara, even though we had Hagoromo saying, hey, Mother was unrivaled by none other, when Hagoromo is asked by Naruto, is she stronger than you? So it's one of those things, like, it's gonna happen. Like, people are gonna rush to downplay anything Sarada does, just like her mother. Like, if Sakura were to punch the ground, split the planet in half, people would say, well, she just happened to hit the earth at the exact moment where it was rotating at its most vulnerable point, and she punched the ground where it was softest because an asteroid just landed on it and did massive damage. There's always gonna be some downplaying. Like, it is what it is. It's very linear scaling. Let's see. Malik Jenkins Prude says, oh, this is a good lengthy comment. What you cooking, fam? Let's see. Malik Jenkins Prude says, I think Sarada will unveil the starter Mangekyo abilities towards the end of the chapter, and the chapter will be majority Himawari versus Jura. I believe the likely outcome is she will intrigue Jura even more, but inevitably be too weak to do any real damage to him. It's too soon for her to be putting any real pain against the likes of Jura, as that would mean that she has at 12-13 already surpassed her father. I believe Damon and Kawaki will assist. I don't see any reason for Jura nor Hidari to leave the Hidden Leaf. Instead, I can see a situation where he summons Bug, Shinju, and Matsuri. Keep up the great work, man. You have no idea how much your content makes my day, man. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Again, I've said it before. Like, if I can kind of do for you guys what Stupendous Waves, Star Wars Theory, Comics Explained, Comic Storian, which rest in peace to Comic Storian. If I can do for you guys what those channels did for me, especially when I was getting through college, man, I've accomplished my goal. Let's see right here. So the Himawari point, I will say this part here. A guy on TikTok really broke it down. I actually shared it with Simply Troy in our DMs on Twitter, but guy on TikTok broke it down very, very well. You know, at the end of the day, this Kurama, even though it is a baby, just due to how reincarnation works, this Kurama was going to be stronger than the Kurama that Naruto had. You don't reincarnate and end up weaker. Chakra just grows over time, especially with deities like the tailed beasts themselves. The more you dig into the whole concept of Buddhism and some of the folklore that these characters are based off of, you can see why this Kurama is stronger. So higher affinity rate, we're told that this Kurama should be in possession of more chakra than Kurama had when he was with Naruto. So I mean, I can kind of see it. I know that kind of rubs people the wrong way, but at the end of the day, this is one of the tropes of the series. The new generation passes the next one or the previous one. At least we're given an answer as to how that works. Now, I do agree though that she's going to be too weak to do any real damage to Jura. And the reason why I say that is that Jura is different than the other Shinju. Jura is the one that is more enlightened. He's more so operating above his primal instincts. A great comparison for who Jura is he's a lot like Kaiju number 9, which the anime has gotten to this point, so I don't consider this a spoiler. He's a lot like Kaiju number 9 in the sense that all the other Kaiju that you saw prior to him were basically operating off of sheer instinct. They were operating without any thinking, method, or madness to them. Kaiju number 9 is that villain that sits there, comes up with plans, and is super smart and observant, and that's what Jura's doing. So I think that he will be fascinated with Himawari just because, like, Kurama has been around for 1,000 years since the time of the Sage's Six Paths. He's lived a long life. There's a lot that can be gained there, and Jura is like a philosopher. So I could kind of see him toying around and using an adjustable scale when it comes to his power. It remains to be seen because like the scan that we got, that should be about halfway through the chapter just based off of the data decoding that was on the chapter itself. But the rest of what you're saying, I kind of like that. I like where you're going with that part. Let's see, user FP or user hyphen FP 6IG4JJ5T says, hopefully Konohamaru does something. My boy hasn't gotten an arc since the pain, a W since the pain arc. Yeah, we can't even call that whole moment with pain a W at that, because he didn't destroy the Naraka path. He just stunned it. Like a couple chapters later, that Naraka path was up and moving, unharmed, outside the village. If he destroyed it, then the Naraka path wouldn't have been able to use the King of Hell and repair himself. Like if you go like to the Naruto fight and everything, Naruto realized, oh, I gotta get rid of the Naraka path once it started repairing the other pains. And once he destroyed that Naraka path, that was that. Let's see. Now, I could be misremembering that fight. It's been a minute since I've read the pain fight because I haven't done a what if covering the pain stuff in a few months. But to my recollection, that's how that worked. KC Smooth says, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Sakura will show up to help Sarada before Boruto recover. I wouldn't be mad at that. I actually got a few thumbnail ideas ready for that, oh my god, the trolling I'm going to do when Sakura shows up. I'm not going to troll Sakura specifically. It's more so I'm going to troll the community because I get a kick out of some of the comments you guys have sent me from people that are triggered by the thumbnails on Facebook and Reddit and other places. Like, I find it funny, so if you notice, like, I'll just poke fun even further. Especially because, like, with a lot of the comments I'll see that you guys are sending me where people are talking, they'll say, well, he said this. And it's like, if you watch the video, I never even said that bullshit. But, you know, it's one of those things like, I'm just going to poke fun because I find it hilarious. You know, you got to have a sense of humor when you do stuff like this. Let's see. Brandon Johnson, 1983. Like, for instance, I'm going to do a thumbnail of Toby Rama as a woodcutter cutting Sasuke's tree down. I'm just going to have fun with it, man. I don't care who the hell I piss off. I really don't care. Let's see. Brandon Johnson, 1983 says, Konohamaru gets smacked up by homegirl that kicks it with Sasuke, Alien, and glow up G. Also, the old dude Alien gonna be creeping in the back, waiting for Ada to come through so he can do some Joe Biden on her. Oh my God. Yo, you guys are so unserious. You guys are so unserious, man. Yo, he hit him with the Joe Biden gonna smell her hair thing stuff, man. The only thing would have made that even more perfect is if you would have added the thing. I think it was a pastor or something that was with the Trump campaign, that he was like an advisor or something to the Trump campaign, and he just admitted to touching a 12-year-old girl and having relations with her. So I mean, it's like there's so many ways this could have gone. And you know, for those of you guys who don't know, like, I'm a politics junkie. I used to work in politics. I've worked for Republicans and I've worked for Democrats, and I've transferred offices between the two. working as a social media manager and everything. So it's like one of you guys said, yo, this man is Shisui, he's the ops. Oh man, yo, when I read that comment, it took me out, man. You either said Shisui or you said Itachi, he's the ops. Man, that took me out when I read it, man. Let's see. Champ Onyx says chapter finna end off with Sarada flashing her Mangekyo showing. I could see that. Now, wouldn't be mad at that one either. Let's see. Bonnie Face Woomer 125 says, oh, here's a great question for down the road. How do you think Naruto is going to react to the recent developments of his daughter possessing the Nine Tails? You know, I don't think Naruto would particularly care. And the only reason is that, like, Kurama at this point would have been passed down to 3 generations of Naruto's family. The only thing I would kind of be interested to see is how Naruto kind of reacts to the prospect of his daughter having Kurama, because this time period it is different. Because when the Nine Tails was still in the people before, it was during times of war. So I would be very interested to see that. Now, from a humor perspective, you know, between Himawari being on one side with a thumbnail and Naruto on the other crying, and Naruto and Himawari pulling on Kurama's cheeks on another thumbnail, if Naruto does anything but that, boy, the trolling I'm gonna do is gonna be absolutely insane. Let's see. Multiverse Theory 3251 says either Sarada will use her Mangekyo Sharingan ability in the middle or the end of the chapter to maintain suspense without drawing things out too much, while Boruto will prioritize Himawari first, then he will support Sarada, and I'm curious if he might have a mental nerf against Jura that Sarada helps him out of. You mean Hidari? Why would there be a mental nerf against Jura? I'm not too sure about that one. Unless there's something I'm misunderstanding about this. The other thing too, like, if he goes there where Himawari is, it's one of those things like Kawaki's there. Kawaki wants Boruto's head. I don't know. If Boruto does that, I'm gonna question his IQ. Like, I get it, that's his sister, but you know, one of Boruto's character themes is trusting in his comrades. So I would think he would trust Kawaki to protect his sister. That line about I'm glad Himawari is doing well, that was said for a reason. So I don't know, like, maybe I misread it. Let's see. S emoji King says a new challenger has arrived on the scene. Counter. Let's see. Haze Light 4426. We won't see any panel of Boruto. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Like, because Boruto's being taken out of the scene for a reason. Make us miss him for a bit. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Again, you know, Dragon Ball got away with it for a long time. Like, once Goku hit like a certain level of power, Akira Toriyama found a reason after like around chapter 200 of Dragon Ball. So that should be around the time that Raditz shows up. Which, reminder, there's no Dragon Ball Z manga in Japan. It's only Dragon Ball. Around chapter 200 of the series, Akira Toriyama found an excuse to have Goku just ridden out for a majority of the arc itself and separated from the main threats. That way other characters could grow. So I wouldn't be mad at that at all, man. So that's gonna be it for this community response here. I like the responses you guys have on this one. It looks like we had 146 comments, man. So this was a very good response. This is a good response. Also, again, as a quick reminder, if you have not seen that 2.5 hour Boruto video, I highly recommend checking that one out. I kept one of my editors, Emerald, one of the editors who has worked with me for the longest time, locked away into a dungeon. That video took us, as he said in the comment on the video itself, that video took us almost a year. We started work on that video back in late August, early September of 2023, and he did not get done editing that video with the revisions and etc. until late March, early April. And the video's been up on Patreon since, I want to say, late April at that, or early May. I highly appreciate Emerald for everything that he's done, man. I love you, brother. But again, if you haven't checked that video out, make sure to click here on the left side of the screen. And if you're curious about kaiju number 8, you want to click on this video here on the right that breaks down every numbered kaiju.